So can you introduce yourself real quick for people who don't know who you are?
I hate doing intros. Yes, I can.
Can't give that answer.
My name is Katie. You know this. Katie Berg,
Yep.
VP Marketing at Klue. I work for a company that does competitive enablement and win-loss, and we work with product marketing and competitive intelligence teams to help salespeople win more competitive deals.
You must be in product marketing because that was
Nailed
pretty
it.
concise. Yeah.
Thank you.
And then you've been at Klue for a while, haven't you?
1,000 million
Yeah.
years.
The history of SaaS. Yeah.
The history of SaaS. Yeah, like 6.5 years.
I'm going to let you get on your soapbox for a second.
Oh God.
What do you hate about buying software?
This is the truth, and I don't want to be like the biggest cynic in the world, but when we're evaluating software, I feel like we need to go in trying to figure out what do you actually not do that you kind of want me to maybe think that you do, but you don't actually. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense to me, but keep going. Elaborate what you mean by that.
Like, I'm getting on a call with a salesperson. First of all, the one thing I hate the most is repeating my business problem, because obviously right now
Like
every
3 times?
salesperson,
Yeah.
yes, we do a disco call, then
Yep.
we get on a demo, and then there's a second call with maybe another senior leader from their team.
Yep.
And every time they want to start again at what are your objectives this
Haven't
year?
I told you this already?
Yes. And I'm like, I so deeply get it. I get it that your sales enablement team wants you to connect to like a business objective this year.
Yeah.
That is good selling.
Yes.
But like getting me to repeat myself 3 times is not the vibe. That is deeply not the vibe right now.
Yeah, but it
And it's a
unfortunately is like the typical vibe, I would say, unless the sales
Yeah.
team is like really dialed in. And I respect on the receiving end of that when I can tell that they've already shared information internally. Doesn't really happen very often or as much as it should, but
when they come with slides that are like, here's the objectives we understand from you, or like, here's some ways that we've delivered on that objective for other people, then you're killing it.
Yeah.
That's a banger.
Why does that not happen more?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is that what? How do you work with your sales team at Klue? Like, are you making sure that that doesn't happen at your company?
Like, huge initiative last year, obviously, and I'm sure for like your company and so many other
we're
companies.
like working through it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, is we went many years being able to sell directly to like a product marketing manager level. Now, you know, like decisions are more difficult, access to budget is more difficult. You had better be able to speak to an executive level buyer. You had better be getting in front of them, connecting this purchase to their company objectives and being able to make that business case. So a lot of time spent last year with our product marketing team, sales enablement team, sales leadership on enabling on how to run a business case, how to prep one, how to deliver it to an executive, that sort of thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Have you read Nate Nasralla's his book? It's like Selling with Buyers. Have you seen Nate before on LinkedIn?
No.
All right. Shout out Nate. He's the best. I will send you the book link. It's unbelievable.
What's the book called?
It's I think it's Selling with Buyers. I think that's what
and
it's called.
what's it about? Selling with buyers is in like
it's basically
collaborating.
It's basically how whenever you're selling, some crazy percentage of the actual sales process is when you're not in the conversation because that person has to go sell internally and vouch for you. So it's all about what you need to do to create that business case for them and with them, really, so that they can go take it up the chain and sell when you're not in the room.
So this is literally what you and I were talking about before.
Yes.
Which is when you asked me like, what's a painful buying process that you've been through?
Yeah.
And I had to stop and think and like realize I'm not sure that I've been like the direct interface with the company to buy software recently. Yeah. Because there's a lot of people on like our marketing team or SDR
How big is your
team.
marketing team?
Marketing team is like 15, 16 people.
Okay, so decent size.
And SDR team also reports into marketing. It's like a 30-person SDR team.
Yep.
So there's like quite a few different functions: brand, product marketing, demand, content, SDR. So there's like functional leaders for all of those within our marketing department. So any and all of these 5 groups could be evaluating software at one time. I'm probably not the one that's like interacting exactly with that account executive. I'm the person.
You're the judge, though.
I'm the judge. That to the point of what you're saying is like a lot of the buying process happens not with the salesperson involved. I'm the person that they're meeting with saying, hey, we want to buy like these. We're looking at these 2 different softwares for this reason. And I'm being like, what? Explain this. And how do you know that there's going to be ROI here? And did you actually question about capabilities on this?
So like, what are the things that you push them on or they are expecting you to ask about?
Probably one of the main things I'll push on is like really getting specific about what are the capabilities that we need. And have you like seen in action that this is true? have we like, how can we validate exactly what functionality we're going to see? Because I don't know if you can relate.
Oh, yes.
But like, how often have you bought something and then you get into it and turns out after you sign the contract, it's like, well, it doesn't actually exactly do that. Or we've bought software that they were like, yeah, it integrates with HubSpot.
Yeah. Does it? Yeah.
Does it though?
So I will say that I made that mistake a couple times earlier in my career, and I feel like you have to go through that very painful experience and have some egg on your face.
Yeah.
And then once you go through it, you know, once or twice or maybe 3 times if it takes you a while to learn, you just are kind of ruthless in going through all of your requirements and making sure that you really check whether or not it's the right thing for you.
Yeah. So like the lesson for us example of like they technically say there's an integration with HubSpot. First time we buy, we're like, that's enough. Let's just sign the contract.
Oh, what you said, I'll take your word for this.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh, it's actually not a 2-way integration. Actually, it's like really limited.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden, but you know, by the time we're doing a second evaluation of products, now when someone says to me they have an integration with HubSpot, I'm like, give me the exact details of what that integration is capable of. So every time you get burned in a different, unique way, and then you're able to sort of refine your buying process, which is kind of cool, actually. As a marketing leader, you get smarter about where you're going to get burned. We're going to get burned on contract terms. We're going to get burned on not fully understanding integration capabilities. We're going to get burned on, you know, any number of these things. Second year, what have we agreed to for sort of like first year discount and what they think sort of upsell is going to be for second year? Like, let's be really specific here.
Yeah, I love that. All right, let's talk about Klue for a little bit. 2 things. First, whatever was in the, I forget the name of like the designs and the
coffee and compete latte art.
I felt bad drinking it because I was like, this is so sweet. Like, I don't want to mess this up. Who had that idea?
That was our events marketer. She's awesome. She came from running events at Google, and now she's running events with Klue, and she's a killer. And you know what? Actually, I think you can relate to this. To me, brand is like always done through the littlest of details.
Oh, I respect, like, when I saw that, I'm like, they get it. Like, they're paying attention to this level of detail. Yeah,
brand is like when someone joins or subscribes to your newsletter, they don't just get like an automated generic email. They get like an email directly from you. That's like a personal, hey, so glad you're a part of this. Reach out to me anytime. Exactly. Like that to me is how brand is established. Through like the smallest of details of caring and giving a shit about like the real experience you're creating for someone. And so like latte art, such a small little thing.
That was the term that I was looking for and couldn't
You're like the little thing on your cup.
The design.
It's like we're gonna run a coffee stand. We're gonna run a coffee stand at this event at Spryng, and like the detail's gonna be like a beautiful coffee and compete. That's our newsletter. That's the name of our newsletter, and a QR code that they can reach it. And
so let's talk about, it's the Compete network, right? This is like kind of the media arm that you guys are building right now. I love what you're building from afar, and I see it.
You're a fellow.
I haven't listened to everything, but I've watched enough to know that I like it. How did this all come about?
Well, you have to tell me your thoughts on this too, because we both kind of come from the same school of marketing, right? Like really believing in trying to do creative content, trying to do content in a way that's not just B2B marketing playbook. Like, like here we are, I'm recording a podcast at an event. Like anytime there's an opportunity to do something unexpected, that's what people relate to and are going to remember you by. So the Compete Network came when I first started working at Klue. Here was the problem that we had. We were running a webinar. We were putting out a new ebook. We were doing some sort of content release. And at the time, we were marketing to product marketers. There were endless other like thought leaders and communities and people also releasing new podcasts, releasing their own events, releasing stuff. And I literally was out for a run one day, and I'm like, why does it feel like we're trying to...
I'm going to interrupt. I love that this idea came when you were away from your computer and outside, because that's where all my best ideas come. So keep going.
Literally, like, why do I exercise? Because that's when my best marketing ideas come. And Adam McQueen can like vouch for that, because he gets Slack messages from me. I'll like stop mid-run and send him a message. So he knows when I'm exercising a lot. He'll get a lot of like random time.
He's the best, by the way. I love him.
Yeah, he's great. So anyway, so I'm like out for this run, and I'm like, why does it feel like we're trying to like get the ears and eyes of our market, and we're fighting against for attention against like these individual creator thought leaders? I should not, there's something wrong here. We're a company. We should be able to approach this differently. We shouldn't be battling with creators for mind share. there should be a way to work with this tide that I'm seeing turn, which was like a huge number of people all building their content on LinkedIn, building their following, like a lot of influencers emerging. I'm like, we need to be able to make this work with us and for us instead of like against us. So this idea of the Compete Network came to me, which was, what if instead of like battling for ears and eyes, we actually created value by saying, hey, let's let's like find a way to make this work for us. Let's create one place, one hub, one like the Netflix of or HBO of product marketing, where like every person who cares about competitive intelligence or cares about product marketing, they can go to one spot to get the best, all the best newsletters, the best events, the best content, the best podcasts, the best shows. And like, it doesn't all have to be by us. If we create one spot, everyone can benefit from that. Because even like, and you do a podcast now, right? But an individual who's creating their podcast off the side of their desk in their like, aside from their job, they're trying to build an audience. That's difficult work.
Oh, yes.
So what if we brought all of that content together? We helped to co-promote each other's work.
Well, and that was some of what I noticed before you launched. What's the most recent show with Jason and
Ready for Launch?
Yes.
Ready for Launch.
As a nerd marketer myself, the pre-launch work and promotion that went into that to build buzz was like one of those moments where I'm like, damn, I wish I thought of that.
So we've had so many cool learnings that have come from this process. So I have this idea, I have this vision, and I'm like, it's going to make it better for everyone. It's going to create value to product marketers. They don't have to like search 20 different channels to find all this content. They can go to one place. So I pitched it to all the current creators in the space. Everyone was like, yes, get my podcast on your site, get my newsletter on your site. I was like, you can take it down anytime you want. No one wants to. We're helping like raise and build sort of the category and the content. And then we started running 4 podcasts. Within a month time, we had this idea, and I'm like, we're going to build this site, we're going to do this thing, we're going to launch 4 new podcasts, and we're going to make it happen. And so Adam's like now gone from running 1 to 5 podcasts with his team. Lots of learnings that come from that. And we learned all about creating new shows, how to build a brand for a new show, how to promote a new show, and like had a lot of failures that came from that, but it helps us. So now, when we're like working on a new show, like Ready for Launch, which we did with Tamar Grominski and Jason Oakley and Andy McCarter-Bicknell, when we're releasing that show, we've learned you can get more attention sometimes, like through teaser posts on social
that's what
media.
I noticed. Yeah.
And that came from years ago, our Series B funding announcement. We got more impressions and reach off our teaser post about our news than the actual funding announcement itself. Yes. Our like teaser post did like 150,000 impressions, and it said, like, we've got big news with eyeball emoji. That's it. And it did like, it had wild reach. And so we've kept testing it like 3 or 4 other times. Teasers slap.
All right. I'm going to have to take note of that. And
sorry. I'm like really like telling you
No. This is awesome. Because we probably won't go from 1 to 5 podcasts soon.
Yeah.
We'll probably go to like 1 to 2 or 3. Yeah. What was maybe the craziest learning from that whole experience for you and for the team?
A couple. So what we did right in that world was we were picking different shows that were targeting different audiences, an exec level show, like a sales focused show, a CI practitioner show. So we were good in like identifying different audiences for our content. What we didn't know how to do then is like run production. So like, you know this, running a podcast, that like prepare to be dedicated. We need
I
new
had a
guests.
patchwork solution at Metadata. It taught me a lot, and we really messed up a lot of it behind the scenes. So thankfully I hired some pros. I'm using Share Your Genius. If you've heard of that before, they're amazing. I love them to handle all of the production for me. So I kind of just show up and make the outlines and invite guests. So I kind of have it easy.
That's great. So we do it all we have contractors we work with for editing, but we do a lot of like the organization and stuff all on our own. But the lining up new guests, prepping and debriefing, like prepping those guests is a job. Right? Like running show production and having a good creative director that can say, hey, can you say that again? Like I can't work with that. Like recut that. And then also learning how to promote it. So like we've learned how to manage a production schedule. Now we're managing a production schedule. It's like 3 different shows at any given time. So a lot of Notion. Organization.
Oh, I'm big on Notion now.
The learnings that we've had, like some of the failures that we've had, I think that like, I would start in creating content with people who already have an audience or are deeply committed to like prioritizing content creation. So in the past, we've created shows where we said, I think this executive at our team would be a great person to run a show, but it wasn't their idea.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you're asking them for time and you're saying, can you please promote this on social? You can only create content with someone who wants to.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that when we're doing work like Ready for Launch, all of those thought leaders, I mean, all of them are experts in their field, but they're also like hugely dedicated to creating content.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's amazing. All right. So one of the questions that we've been asking everybody is something that we're kind of working on as it relates to our narrative and the positioning and messaging that we're using. So when you hear the term customer evidence, what are the first couple of thoughts that come to mind?
When you say customer evidence, I think case studies. I think social proof. I think this is probably like proof of ROI coming from customers.
Someone said like a CSI crime scene, so there's no right or wrong answers.
Customer, and I'm thinking a collection of proof points. So you say customer evidence, I'm thinking there's probably going to be a bunch of different data points across multiple customers. Am I right?
There's no wrong answer.
Or what it mean?
Yeah, I mean, we're still kind of framing that right now. So how do you go about, or how does your team go about getting and creating customer evidence at Klue?
So we have someone who's
and your answer was pretty much right, by the way.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we have someone who's in a customer advocacy role on our team. That's like their complete focus. They focus on building our champions. They focus on bringing those stories to life that help with like social proof. They also help to connect when we have speaking engagements or we want to create content for our customers, roundtables, whatever, speaking events. They help draw the connection points between who would be great to speak about this and what topics should they cover. So what was your original question? How do we approach this?
Yeah.
We will look at our company objectives and our marketing objectives for a quarter as a starting point and say, like, we have these 2 key themes for the quarter. And then we say we need like customer stories that are going to connect to that objective. So it could be we have a customer education objective to drive retention. We want to shorten the time for onboarding or we want to drive user adoption. And we will like really, so we are always attaching our customer evidence, our customer stories and proof that way to our core objectives. Always in complete alignment with our core objectives, which are attached to our company objectives.
So you have it pretty figured out then, because I feel like not just from the conversations that I've had the last 2 days at Spryng, but other conversations with product marketers and customer marketers, I haven't really heard anyone talk about organizing it or like anchoring it around like the top level objective. Is that something that...
What do other people do?
Hey, sales wants more customer stories, just go get a customer story. Which is pretty much the norm at most companies.
I guess like sometimes we'll get those requests, but we try to be more strategic and say, we want to invest more into our enterprise go-to-market approach, right? Like strategically, we need to support that team more. That would never really just be from one customer story or say, go get some social proof. It'll probably be connected to, we need better marketing programs for that segment. We need some product marketing enablement to happen there. And let's also bring in social proof. So like customer advocacy for us is almost always connected to a broader campaign or broader initiative.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right, last question, a broad one, but I feel like you'll have a good answer. How do you go about building trust in your marketing at Klue?
It's such a broad question.
We've gotten some really good answers, so the bar is high here.
The bar is high?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No pressure.
So I think proof happens in a million different ways, right? Proof happens with every experience you have with a company. I'll give a couple of examples, but it's like when you download a report, like these basic marketing plays, when you download an ebook or research report, if that was like really just a way to get your contact info and the content in that report is garbage trash, you've eroded my trust. I feel like I got bamboozled, right?
I kind of avoid forms really for that reason.
Because you think that you're going to get bamboozled. This is going to be garbage content. They're just trying to get my information. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like so if I am landing on an SEO driven blog post because I search something and I get there and I can tell it's just all SEO hacked, you've eroded my trust. So at every single level of what we're doing, whether that's a blog post or a research report or a podcast you listen to or an
Yep.
event that you come to, those are all opportunities to build trust or erode trust. If I have you on a podcast that we produce, the level of production quality
Yep.
that we have on
yes.
site, like this, like
yes.
we have a production team and we have the right
Yes.
equipment and we know
Yep.
how to run show.
Yep.
That's going to build trust.
Yes.
And I believe that we have like engaged prospects and closed deals from them working with our content team.
Yeah.
Because it's building trust that
Oh,
if this
yeah.
is how they produce like a video,
You're like impressing them. They're like, this
Yeah.
is their like really intentional focus on what they're doing. And especially when you're marketing to marketers and product marketers, there's just immediate respect and I think trust when they notice those details.
so the cop-out answer
Yeah.
is like it's everything, but in reality I think it's we work with a lot of the industry's best thought leaders. We are able to do that because I think the brand we've established in the market gives us credibility to do that.
Yep.
The people of Klue continue to build trust every time we meet people in person. I don't know. What are the better answers that you got? That's my answer.
That was one of the more tactical answers that people gave with real examples. So I would say 9 out of 10.
What was an answer you got from someone else that made you that surprised you?
I forget who it was. We've done way too many of these, which is a great problem to have content-wise. But someone said it's really hard, and then just pause for a second, and they were thinking. But my immediate reaction was like, "Is that your answer? That was it." So that was hilarious. But they've kind of been all, yeah. It was like that was the answer. But no, they've kind of been all over the place, and I think the biggest theme of really all of the answers is just authenticity.
Authenticity. That's the thing that's going to also AI-proof brands and AI-proof marketing teams.
Yeah.
Is like at the beginning of this year,
Wait, was the drinking game proof or social proof? Because you have a lot to drink if it's just proof. Yes.
What?
No, I'm kidding. We didn't agree to the rules.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yes.
if we say social proof, I've said proof a lot.
Yes.
Oh my God, what was I saying? I was about to go into something really smart.
Authenticity.
Authenticity.
And, AI proofing.
ChatGPT
brands.
and AI, how marketers are going to abuse that.
Yep. It's already happening.
Right? How do you see it? They're going to abuse it on social.
Yep.
They're going to abuse it through misusing how they're doing outbound outreach.
Yep.
They're going to abuse it for content.
Yep.
The things that are going to provide us like a mode as marketers will be the things that are hard to do.
Yeah.
The things that are human.
Yeah.
Right? So in-person connection, relationship building,
Yep.
the things that are creative
Yep.
and authentic. So anything that you can do that's hard to do
Yep.
builds real relationships and like requires a level of authenticity and creativity, that's going to be harder for AI to replicate.
I love that. All right, I'm done grilling you. The event's over, I think. We're probably about to get kicked out of here soon. So,
I think so.
This was awesome. We should do more of this. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.